In this video, I will go through the steps to control your Philips Hue lighting through Discord. This is what I have set up in my home, which I did a small skit about if you'd like to take a look. But with that out of the way, let's get started. We'll be using D#+, so we'll start here for this tutorial, and I'll put the link for this in the description. We are going to go to creating a bot account, and then the Discord developer portal. You may have to log in for this portion, but since I'm already logged in, you can see the applications I already have. And we're going to go up to the top for new application, and we're going to give it a name. What do we call it? A very original name, I know, but bear with me. Here you can fill out the information about your bot, but I'm just going to leave everything blank for the time being, and go over to bot, add a bot, yes, and here we go. So we've now linked this application to a bot. Scrolling down then we have the bot permission, so what do we want to actually do with this bot? I'm just going to go with these permissions for the time being, but if I find it doesn't work then I'll come back to this. Next we have to create an authorization code, and we're going to go to the URL generator so that we can actually invite it to one of our servers. And the scope of this application is a bot. And then again we have to add these permissions. With that done, we're going to copy this link, and then we're going to navigate to that link. And we're going to try to add this to BB's Funhouse and continue. It'll give it this permission, which it seems okay for me, so I'm going to authorize this. And I don't know what this is. What is this? Right, we're going to cut. Okay, that was weird. I don't know what happened there, but it's authorized now at least, so we can close off this page. Then you can see in the server the bot is now added. It's offline currently, but it's there. Then if we are still on this page, we're going to go to writing your first bot, and then we're going to follow this tutorial now. So we have done this first thing where we've created the bot. We have not seen the bot token yet, but we can get this when we need it. And we have Visual Studio. Well, hopefully we have Visual Studio installed. Looking at you, viewer. We're going to create a new project. And it's going to be a C# console command using console app profile. So make sure it's not the .NET framework because I don't believe it's supported. So we click on the console app and next. Obviously I'm going to give it a nice original name, but you feel free to change it to whatever you want. And it's .NET Core 3. And then we can click create. Next thing we have to do is install the D# Plus package. So we're going to go into our solution and go on manage NuGet packages. Go to browse, and we're going to search for D# Plus. I believe it's the first one that we're going to need. So we'll right click on that and install. And OK. I accept. So we can go back to our program and happy days, it's done. So again, following from this tutorial, I'm just going to copy and paste this code, making sure to only replace the main function. And we're going to right click and include these using statements. Now the next portion is going to include this D# Plus package. We can actually start making our bot. So I'm going to copy this code again and paste it inside of our main function. Obviously we have to include the using statements where possible. Finally we're going to copy these 2 lines of code and paste them underneath our Discord variable. This will ensure that the console command doesn't terminate. Now to backpedal a bit, inside the Discord variable token, this is going to be the key which the bot will use to log in. So this is a unique key only to your bot. As it says in the tutorial, you must keep this secret, as anyone with this key can use it to log in and cause nefarious deeds. Think of it as a username and password. You don't want to be sharing that. Now, if you have this page open still, we will go to our general information of our bot. And then click on bot, and you'll see this token. For security purposes, tokens can only be viewed once when created. If you have forgot or lost access to your token, please regenerate a new one. So I'm going to do this in secrecy, but you do the same. Don't show anyone. Now, weirdly, my auth code was actually cheesy fingers, so it's a bit strange, isn't it? But oh well, I'm happy for you to see that it's called cheesy fingers anyway. Spoilers, this is actually where your string goes. Now, with just this simple bit of code, our bot should come to life. So we're going to give this a run. We're going to hopefully go on to our Discord so we can see it come online. Oh, go away, AVG. There we go. So we see it now. My tutbot, and it's online. Hooray! You've just given life. Congratulations. Okay, great. So you've accidentally created life. Now what do you do with it, God? The next bit of the tutorial is to spice up your bot. So variety is the spice of life. So this tutorial is going to give an example of how the bot can react to messages in the chat. So we're just going to use this code just to see if it still works. The bot listens to a message that was sent into the server, and if it starts with ping, then we're going to send a message, pong. So we'll give this a run. So the bot should be online, which it is. And I'm going to write ping, and we get pong. Absolutely bargain. But for our application, we don't want to react whenever a message is created. We want to react whenever a voice state is updated. In fact, if we go to this website, which I will put in the description, we can see all the events that the Discord can respond to. So this event is fired when a message is created. You can look through all these events if you want to find the one you want, but this is the one that we're going to be using. Fired when someone joins or leaves moves voice channels. So we're going to change message created to voice state updated. And obviously because I've just copied this, it's not the correct context, so I'll get rid of that. And we'll just do... Oops, I forgot the application was still running. Now these codes say that whenever the voice state is updated, we're going to write to the console, voice state updated, just to prove that it works. So I'm going to run. I'm going to put it to the side. Now when I join the guest room, you can see voice state updated, so it has worked. Hooray! Now, you have to be careful as this event will fire across every server that this bot is added to. It's not a problem if you're only using the one server, but for completeness, we will confirm that it's only the server we want it to happen in. So for debugging, I'm going to change this so we can use the arguments sent in from this event. If we type e dot, you can see all the parameters from this event. So here we can see channel, and here we can see guild. Guild is the Discord server, and then obviously channel is the channel, the voice channel that it was sent in. Also the user, so whichever user has joined the channel. So I'm going to debug the username, the guild name, and the channel name I joined. So there we can see welcome BB754 from BB's Funhouse to the guest room. So in the code we could put if statements checking the username against strings, but because people and servers can be named almost anything, confirming the actual server or person based on the name could be exploited, so we can use the unique IDs for each for a secure match. To do this we can change from username to ID. This is a lot more secure. So I'm going to run this again. And now we get some IDs. If you didn't record these IDs down when you run the program, you can right click on each person and go copy ID. And then here is the ID. There's mine now, quick! You can also get it by right clicking on the channel ID or the server ID. If we use an if statement against the IDs, we can now run specific code for specific people in a specific server. Oh, hello. Great, we can use if statements for each person, but now all we have to figure out is what lights to turn on and when. So something I realized later than I should have is that instead of running to the lights whenever you're making changes to the code, you can just look on the Philips Hue app and that should reflect the current state of each light, if that makes it easier for you. Or you could simply plug it into a light socket close to your PC. So now I take you to yet another tutorial, this now for the Philips Hue. The first thing we need to do is making sure that your Hue system is up and running, and find the IP of your Hue bridge by using the app. And once you have found this address, we can load up this debugging tool. My IP address ends in 145, so my URL should look like this to get this API debugger. So the next thing we do is we copy this string into the URL, and then we use the get to get all the information that we... So we don't actually have this username in our bridge yet, so we have to create a new user. If we copy this body text into here, I'm going to give my username tutorial. Again, originally named, I'm going to call myself tutorial, and then I'm going to click post. Oh, what now? Oh, okay, so we have to go and click the link button now, and then try it again. Oh god, I'm out of breath now. Right, trying this again, we'll click post. No, don't do this to me. Oh, so trying again for the second time. Success. Now, this username looks a lot like our bot token, so what do you think we should do?
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Yes. So, updating our URL with our login key and press get, we get a whole lot of information, which you may already start to decode as it being for each light. You will now use the app to turn all the lights off by turning one light on and set it with the color you would like to use for that one user you will assign it to. Now, using the API tool, we're going to click the get command again, and this should update the light state. We're going to be trying to find the light with the state of on. So this is the value we're looking for. And here's mine. Make sure you write down the light number, the brightness value, the hue value, and the saturation value for your designated person. Do this for each user you'd like to assign a light to, and now we have to convert these results into data to use in our bot program. Now we're going to create a data structure inside our bot program to hold all these values. So we're going to go to our solution, right click, add a new item. It's going to be a class of name VIPI. What does the I stand for, Funaki?
Indeed.
Yes, very important person indeed. In this class we're going to store the light number as seen in the Philips Hue bridge, the hue color, and then the brightness and saturation of that color. And then I almost forgot the ID of the user in Discord. And then for ease of population of these fields, we're going to right click and we're going to create a constructor. And that'll be it for this class. Back in our main program. Now at the top of the main async function, we will instantiate an array for every user which has a light. I like using lists, but if you want to use a dictionary, hey, I don't judge. So I will call this list VIP. Wait, what's the plural of VIPI? VIPI? VIPI equals new list of VIPI. So we'll add a new VIPI to this list. We first put in the ID of the user, then the light number is associated with, the hue value of the light, the brightness, and the saturation. Do this for every user you have. These are the users I used in my video skit, so I'll populate them here for reference. Now, we're going to send these values to the Hue bridge as a command. So, back to the bridge API we go. We last used this URL and then pressed the get to get a state of all the lights. Now we'll be using the put command to update the values. To do this, we must include this additional destination in the URL. And then finally, we take this body command and put it into message body. To address the appropriate light, we change this value in the URL, this being the light index number of our Hue bridge. Mine starts with 2, so I'm going to change this to a 2. And in the body, I'm going to change this from false to true. And then finally, we can use the put command. No, we're not doing the skit today. We don't need to include the ominous sound effects, thank you. And thankfully, we get a success value back. Success! We can also add more parameters into the body command to update more values at once. So I'm going to change the light we're going to address, and then I'm going to update the hue color, and then finally I'm going to put. Now we see a success result for each item we updated. Success! And now we know the string of text that is getting sent to the bridge. We have to recreate this in our bot program. So this is the code that we have in our program currently. I'm going to change this so we can loop through all the users in our VIP by address. I've just copied this code in, but I realise I haven't made these values in here public, so let me do that now. There we are. So first I'm checking that we're using the right guild or the right server, and if we're not, I'm just going to return. Then I'm going to cache a blank user of the VIPI class. Then I'm going to loop through all the VIPs that we have, and then we're going to check if the eUser ID, which is the user which have just been triggered from this voice state update event. And if we get a match, I'm just going to write out to console. The username from e.user.username. Then I'm going to cache the matched. Then I'm going to catch the match. Cache? I'm then going to cache the VIPI user in our temporary user variable. God, that was hard to say. Finally, we're going to break out this loop as we have the one user we need. I'm then going to check that we actually have a user. If user is null, then we do not care about this user that just joined. There are a few states which could trigger the event. The user could join the channel, move channel, or leave the server entirely. We can check for this in the arguments e.before and e.after. In the case that the user joins or moves channels, we will turn a light on. We can simply check if there is a channel for after. Since after is null, it means they have left the server completely. Now it's time to prepare the strings that we need to communicate with the Hue bridge. First, we will create the address of the bridge and light. Inside this empty string, we will copy and paste the URL from the debugging tool. This is still missing the IP address of the bridge. Again, from the URL in the debugging tool, we will copy the IP address and paste it in front. So now it should look like this. But this now is hard-coded, and we need to address each individual light from the address. In this case, it'll be light 4. To change this, we must put a $sign in front of the string, indicating that we want to change variables. Then to include a variable in the string, we must put an open and close curly braces, and inside these braces we can put our variable name. We will use the light ID from our user cache. You will notice that it now shows up like a variable. Next, we will create a command string, including the $sign, as we want to include variables. For this, we want to copy the text that we see in our message body and paste it into the command. Now, there is an error because the string also includes quotation marks, but we need this to be part of our string. So to ignore the character from being a compiler function, we can put a backslash in front of each quotation mark we want to include in the string. These will be every quotation mark except for the first and last. And now yet another issue. We mentioned previously that any variables that can be put into a string as long as they are between an open and closed curly braces. But we also have these symbols in our string behaving as a text. Our backslash symbol isn't going to work here. This time we must use a curly bracket to defeat a curly bracket, and also a closed curly bracket to defeat a closed curly bracket. And now it's happy. The errors have gone, but we still need to put our variables into this string. Then we can use the open and close curly braces and put any variable in that we need. So I'm going to use the light state for the on state. And then for saturation, we'll use the saturation in our user variable. Our brightness value. And finally our hue value. Now, if we were to write out our light state, it would come out as true with the capital, or false, also with the capital. To change this, we have to pass it first to a string, then finally to lower. This will make sure that it changes the text to all lowercase. Then finally a nice easy string to hold what type of request we are sending to the Hue bridge. These are either the get, put, or post that we saw from the API. So we have everything we need now to actually send it to the Hue bridge. But I'm gonna have to confess, Not done this before I started this project, so I had to look up on everyone's favourite code sharing site to nab the code from there. So I'm going to paste the code I prepared earlier and make sure to include any using statements for it. This is a function I made from help from the internet, which includes our URL, command and method strings that we're going to use to communicate to the bridge. I like this function as it'll be generic of just sending a command to a URL address and the method type. The first line just spoofs a certification validation check. Then we put everything inside a try-catch block to encode our command into bytes. Then create a request to our URL. Giving our request variable some parameters, our application is a JSON file with a method of method, and then we finally write to this stream. And then as we saw from our API tool, we get a request back, so we use the code then to handle this, where we store our response, we create a reading stream, we then read that stream, and then we write it to our console. And then finally, if there's any errors, we write that to the console also. Now back into our voice state update code. We will call this function, passing in our URL, command, and method. And that should be everything. We can give this a test. And as you can see in the console, we get our success signal back for every command that we send. Happy days! This is just a fraction of what's possible to combine Discord and Philips Hue, or any other controllable lighting, to be honest. If you have used Discord and Hue before, or have an idea for what you would use it for, let me know in a comment and I'll try and take a look. I do have plans for other Discord integrations, but that'll be for another time. Also, if you have any comments on this style of video, do let me know, and I will leave you with a last thank you. We hope to see you again soon.